everyone. This is Jackie Cooper with the Blockchain Legal Institute talk show, as well as Crypto Mom 2 and the Bermuda Career Day talk show. I'd like to welcome everyone to this episode and also remind you to definitely like and subscribe because there are many wonderful conversations that will be uploaded soon, and I want to make sure that you actually enjoy all of them. For the youth and the young adults that might be hopping on listening to this for their career day, we want to welcome you. The focus of these shows is to provide you with background information so you can see the wonderful opportunities that exist and the many different ways that you can actually have multiple careers in your life. Because as you might have heard from my interviews of others, I'm definitely a career switcher, and where I started and where I am, again, it hasn't been straight and narrow. It's been definitely a curve and a journey, but one that's been fun. So today I have an individual on that I met when my co-founder and I visited Bermuda, and we had the pleasure to stay at the Fourways Inn. And there are going to be some remarkable photos that will be embedded within. It is a gem and a jewel that is very, hidden away. And I really ask everyone, if you're visiting the island, for those that might be listening off island, come and reserve and enjoy. For those that are on island, definitely visit the restaurant and check it out. But in the meantime, I have the owner on, Andy Detzer, and we're going to be talking about his background, how he came into the hospitality area. He's also an artist, and he's designing the cover for the book, The Bitcoin Cinderella and the Pink Sands Treasure of Bermuda, which I'm very excited to be sharing with you soon. But Andy, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Jackie. Like we say in Bermuda, just another day in paradise. Little chilly though, but even still nice.
Yes. So I see the backdrop for you. So where are you in the scheme of your restaurant and the inn? Where are you?
So I'm in a room what we call the Cedar Room.
Mm.
It's sort of like a semi-private or private room, adjacent to the main restaurant. So if you would be looking at this, where you could look through some, cedar doors, and that's where the main dining room is located. So the beauty about the Fourways Inn, we have lots of different small little, cozy little private rooms. Anything from, the what we call the alcoves, fountain alcove, Ponciana alcove, then the Cedar Room. Then we have the most famous one of all. It's the Peg Leg Bar. That, I mean, I wish I could, guide you right into it. It's just such a, beautiful historic part of the building, and it actually dates back to 1727. So
Wow.
it's a very old historic building. And in the old days, Fourways Inn was a private residence. And then over time, it has changed into a guest house, and then it changed into an actual restaurant in 1974. They opened the doors in 1976, just the way it is today. Then we're on ownership. The MEF group has acquired the Fourways Inn in 2002, and we love it. We don't look back. I mean, it's just such a jewel, and it's a joy to be here. We always say Fourways Inn, no way out, only because once you're at Fourways Inn, you lose your heart and you will be coming back. That's why we have so many repeat customers. It doesn't matter if it's for the cottages or the restaurant. So we love it. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
still here too. No way
Yeah.
out.
So the history is remarkable, and that's something that I think that, for those that are listening, as young adults and as also adults, it is important when you're looking at where you're going to be working to explore what the history of the business is and also to see what the community is like. I know that you have you're a world traveler and you have lived in many places. Share a little bit about your story of how you came here and, even to the business of being within the restaurant side and everything else like that, because your career path has been very diverse as well.
Correct. And that's the beauty in a way, working in the hospitality, because, if you're not happy on one side, you have lots of options to switch around. And it more or less happened the same to me, even so I didn't jump too many ways. But going back a little bit for me, so I started to work in the hospitality, industry, when I was 15 years old. So I started off in the kitchen. I became a chef, and in Europe we have quite an extensive training. I am German, as from my heritage, and we have like a 2 or 3 year program you have to go through before you can even call yourself as a chef or waiter or hospitality worker as such. So you do go through all the departments in the hospitality industry. Even so, you're a chef. I had to do housekeeping. I have to do accounts. I have to do front of house service, and then obviously, but the main focus is in the kitchen. So that's how I basically started, in the hospitality industry, and then I moved around a little bit. I went to Switzerland as a chef. I went to Turkey. I was at various places in Germany, and then I went back to schools, sort of like also to go into higher education, because being in the kitchen wasn't my destination. I would say I always wanted to become restaurant manager, hotel manager, whatever it is, whatever it involves. So that's the beauty about the hospitality industry. If you are a chef, it's a great passion. I always say whatever I do in life, I will never regret that I learned how to cook. My wife doesn't either, so she appreciates it as well that I know how to cook. So and then obviously I moved away, and then a chef I used to work with in Germany, he was at the time already in Bermuda, and he just took a short vacation. He went to back to Germany. I was on a lunch break. He was shopping in the middle of a big city, and it couldn't be any more of a coincidence. Our ways crossed. We always were good friends, and we chatted, we talked, and he invited me over for dinner. He showed me pictures, and I said, "Oh my God, how do I get on this island? I want to put my foot on there." And he said, they are looking for people. So he asked me if I want to come over, and I said, absolutely. I said, the only restrictions, I don't want to work with you in the kitchen, because otherwise I will be only talking in German. And so I want to have more of a challenge. I want to go and go into the dining room, improve on my English, and just get to learn different ways about the industry. And so they took me with open arms. It didn't take very long, and from there on, I became a waiter. At the what used to be the Tavern on the Green, a beautiful little older restaurant in the Botanical Garden, but government took it over. It was a government building. They turned it into a tourist office, but I remained with the group ever since, and worked my way up. Started off the catering business for the MEF group called the Little Venice Group at the time, and then I was working and operating out of various restaurants until we found the Fourways Inn as a home base for our catering, because catering actually it grew so large that it was very difficult to operate out of different restaurants. And that's how basically I ended up. We acquired Fourways Inn. I became a partner in the firm, and like I said earlier, I don't look back. The restaurant is doing great, the catering is doing great, and we love what we do.
So I'm going to share for a quick second the platform so everyone can see it. And then we're also going to talk about some of the skills that youth or young adults might need in order to kind of step into this type of space. So we're seeing, for those that are online, because again, there's the auto version of this, the building, and then the variety of foods and various things. And we have the menus, the catering, the events, the weddings, the cottages. So there's a lot of different types of careers that can come out of one business like this. What kind of skills do some of your staff have to have in order to be able to be hired or to be part of this type of hospitality business?
Yeah, so I mean, in the hospitality industry, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a chef, if it's housekeeping, front of house. If you sort of like have a passion for hospitality, it doesn't really matter where you start. The important part is that you do move around within the business, grow within, find your passion, and especially later on when you become a hotel manager, if this is your kind of a little bit your end goal, it's definitely very, very helpful that you have worked in various departments, because it's not only about generating the business, it's controlling the business. And that doesn't only go for the hospitality industry. If I get the people through the door, and the back door opens and the money walks out wherever it goes, you're still not going to make it. So you have to know where you control. And if you know the in and out of each department, then you have it much easier to control, because you know where the weak spots are. and you need to close those holes.
So, do you have, again, I'm asking this of everyone who, I interview, do you have internships, or what kind of, how do you staff, and how do you look at hiring when on island? How does that work?
So we always recruit, or we try to recruit locally. And to be honest with you, over the last few years, and especially since COVID, it's an extraordinary, challenge. People, they literally, left the hospitality industry because a lot of them, they, took it as a sort of like a short-term goal. They were forced during the pandemic to move out of it, and now they're not coming back. So it's very difficult, and I'm not just talking about Fourways Inn or Bermuda in general. It's a worldwide problem. People, to find people working in hospitality, it's very, very difficult. One of the main drawbacks, it's, if it, I always say, and I be very open about it, if you work in hospitality, you got to be ready to work, holidays, night times, weekends, and especially in a restaurant business. If you're in housekeeping, it might be a little bit different, but it doesn't matter if it's from management or within the heart of an operation. You've got to be able and enjoy working when other people don't work. So that's one of the biggest drawback, and why people are actually getting out of the industry. But if you have a passion with the people, it's, I think, probably one of the finest and best industry, to work in. Having a little laugh about it, I mean, talking about technology, as we're talking about cryptocurrency and everything, and technology will be taking over the world anyway. I always feel very safe being in my industry, because no matter what the computers do, no matter what the robots do, and at some point they will bring the food to the table, but they will never replace the real job, because people still want the interaction. They want to be with people. They want to talk to people. They don't want to talk to a robot. So to be looking further down the road, you might do something. You might be replaced by technology. You work in this industry, I can guarantee you're pretty safe. And especially if you're good at it, you'll be safe.
Well, I think the other thing that you said, which is very important, and I know that's a thread that I'm trying to share throughout all of the conversations I have, definitely find something that you enjoy. Because if you're going to be spending a lot of time doing the work or the job, you really want to have a passion for it. And sometimes, that might change. But again, again, it's the type of thing that you can always find fun in everything that you do. And like you also said, if you're a people person, then this is great, because you have the interaction, you can meet different cultures, and definitely, feed the fuel for that area. What do you see as the future for Fourways? I know that when we were visiting, and we'll be visiting soon again, it was always packed, and you had a lot of activities going. So are you constantly marketing, or what do you see going on in the future with Fourways? Are you expanding? What's going on?
I can't really tell of expanding. I mean, the one thing is, we know there is always room for improvement, so we will never, sit back and relax. So we will always move forward, try to innovate, and then sometimes things do come along, we expand, so we don't certainly don't turn away good opportunities, but we also don't want to go crazy. A lot of people, they overexpand, or they get too excited too quickly about things, and then don't, actually basically fall off the wagon. So we want to keep it that, everything is, within control, that we don't lose our, passion. I mean, as a good example is, for me, when I started in hospitality, everything was just what I do in the hospitality industry. As the world has changed now, a lot of our times in management, is dedicated. It doesn't matter if it's human, resourcing, it's ordering, it's the legal part. So it takes away a lot from the actual passion, what we really, because our passion is being with people, and we are not administrator. We want to be hands-on. We do have some administration, obviously, to do. So, we got to go with the time, with the flow, and make the changes as they come our way. And so again, if there are opportunities, we certainly will take them. At some point, we may expand, we may not. I don't know. So, and going back also what I said earlier, I say in hospitality, I mean, drawing young people in here, and hospitality for a lot of people is a starting point. And it's, I think, a fantastic starting point, because we are within the world of network, and especially in places like the Fourways Inn, we have a lot of, high high-end clients coming in, business people. So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of things you will see, you will engage in conversations. So we have a lot of people, they're working in hospitality either full-time or even part-time. I worked with some Bermudians. They came in as a dishwasher. They just wanted to make money. Now they are political. They're ministers within the Bermuda government. So again, hospitality is like it's a good stepping point. It does get you a little bit money into your pocket. You will talk to a lot of people, and we know a lot of people. They work in hospitality, and before we know it, now they are executives within a financial world, or wherever they go. So it's definitely a good network place, the Fourways.
I think there are a few things that I took away from what you just shared, because I also, worked in my younger days as a waitress, so I understand. But I think that working within the hospitality industry, you do learn certain skill sets of conversation, networking, and just customer service, and how to be professional with a lot of different personalities, because everyone is a little bit different. So I think that type of skill is really important. And sometimes as a student, growing up in a classroom, you're not always exposed to a lot. So the industry, I think, provides really a foundation for some of the skills that you can then apply in other professions, like you mentioned. And I also think that for youth that, or even young adults that are looking at this, there, even though, as you said, there is definitely a need for commitment, there is some flexibility within this industry, because again, if you can only work part-time in it, then there's an opportunity to have an income that can then supplement when you are in school or other things. So that's definitely, and then the other thing that you said, that I think this is another takeaway for young adults or even students who might be thinking about becoming an entrepreneur. You mentioned control, and you mentioned making sure that, that you're monitoring the growth of the business, so that way it's successful and profitable. And I think that that is a really important business concept. So that way, whenever a business is started, um, you can look at, okay, what is your vision? And how do you make sure that you still have the foundation, so that way it can continue? So you created a lot, you shared a lot of wisdom there. And
I'm the one who's still learning as well. So
yes, exactly. So is there professional development for those in the hospitality industry? How do you keep current with your skill set? How does that work?
I mean, to be honest with you, a lot. I mean, especially in the restaurant business, a lot comes from, believe it or not, from social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's only because nowadays we are all on the computers, on social media. We pick up something and then I say, wow, that looks fantastic, and then you try to get most of the information from it, and you either recreate it, or you improve it, or make something different. So innovation, it's always one of our bigger drivers into hospitality. We always say to people, and then they say, tell me what you want, challenge me, give me something new. And I always joke as well, and I say people always say, and I say it's very, very important that you're very consistent in what you do. And I always say, yes, but consistency is also the death of creativity. Because if you're consistent and you never change, then you get stagnant, and then people at some point get bored as well. So it has to be a healthy balance between innovation, creativity, versus professionalism, and being consistent in what you do. I could never change. I mean, your personality should never change. It should always be the same. It should always be happy personality. You shouldn't be one day angry and bad, and then the next day you're good. So that's definitely something consistent. But when it comes to the menu, I have to change it out.
Yeah. So you talk about creativity. I cannot ignore the fact that you are a creative artist. And I definitely, for those that are young or even older, the idea of being an artist can continue no matter what age we are. So share a little bit about your passion for art and what you're doing, because it's so creative, and you've shown your art, it's been around. Tell a little bit more about the uniqueness of it.
So, in first of all, for me as an artist, I never had the intention, to be or to become an artist. It's still until now. It's more like a hobby. I have a daytime job, can't give it up. The art doesn't pay enough to give up, the daytime job, and most artists they do die poor, what they say. So, and again, because of the industry I'm in, we are, I do have I would call it probably a little of a creative blood running in my veins, and it started off with it still is photography or digital art, what I call it now.
And I see it
And
behind you, right?
correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some large images right there. So, the newest line already, is the Gombe line, but it started off with what I called at the time the surreal reflection photography,
Mhm.
whereas basically it's very similar or identical to an double exposure for anyone who does a little bit of in the photography. The only thing I had no idea what is double exposure. I was the only photographer in the world running around with a piece of broken glass and trying to get a reflection within the glass. Anyway, it was very, very successful at the time. Then I started to create or shoot fishes around the island, but not underwater, through the water, and it just
Amazing.
gave it this very colorful, vibrant kind of feel to it. I print most of my artwork on metal, so again the vibrancy comes out. And once I was doing the fishes, and then at some point I was looking at the gombes, and then they say you gotta do something with the gombes. They're just like the water world, in Bermuda, colorful, energetic, and there's just so much going on. Anyway, so I came up with this transformation of the gombes. I put a lot of energy, a lot of colors into the images, and that's exactly what the gombes are. And I don't look back. It's been a very successful line. I'm very proud of what I do, and I always said, even if I never sell a single picture, I can feed from the feedback what I get from people.
Yeah.
When they love it, when they compliment it, what they see, and that's what feeds me.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to have to reveal to everyone the cover, when the book comes out. It's just it represents so much of what's going to be unfolding in the adventure. So that will more than likely be out in the April May time for those that are listening, but definitely there'll be an announcement about that. Any last minute thoughts that you want to share with those that are in, elementary, middle, high school, or, college, or even adult switchers that might be looking at career changes? Any other thoughts that you want to share?
No, I mean, it is the part where, and I say, if you do have a passion to be with people, to interact with people, hospitality is a fantastic, industry to be in. There's lots of options, to change with industry, become hotel manager. And like we said earlier, it's also a fantastic place to network and find out, what you want to do in the future. Like, a lot of people, they started off in the industry, they take another side job, they study on the side, and then suddenly, before you know it, they become a lawyer. But they will always look back and then say, I loved what I did. And, I always say there is no bad experience. In any experience, even if it's trouble, it's a good experience, it's a learning experience, and it just makes you move forward from there.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
even if you never do it again.
You know what? I agree with you totally. Every experience it adds to the life journey that we have. So thank you so much for being on. I will, for everyone who's listening, I will have the website and the ways to contact the Fourways Inn in the blog below. And then, if you as students have questions about this industry, definitely you'll be able to email and ask how you can get more involved, because again, this is a very big industry. It's not just standalone inns or restaurants. There's hotels, there's it's a huge industry. So this means that there's a lot of opportunities for you. And as Andy was saying too, it's a great way for you to kind of stretch your language capability to, to travel and to kind of learn about different cultures. So it's a lot of possibility here, and that's what we're all about, is possibility and dreaming. So thank you, Andy, for being on. I will sure to talk to you soon. For everyone, as I always say at the end of all my shows, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We're all so interconnected, especially now, because we are all part of one world. Thank you so much, everyone. Talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
Jackie. That should be our slogan in hospitality.
For sure. Talk to you soon. Bye.